Well, we kicked Brad out again because he was ridiculous last week. We brought in an upgrade. Joel, welcome back. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League. This time from three different friends who support different clubs. My name's James. I still support Arsenal. Down below, that's Sean. He still supports Tottenham. And that up top with me is Joel. He still supports Newcastle. But gentlemen, hello, good day. How are you all doing?
I thought me and Brad ran a pretty tight ship last week. To be honest with you.
I don't want to digress too greatly right now. But we can go over the specifics and the intricacies of last week's podcast after this.
Okay.
But speaking of last week's podcast, if you wanted to check out Sean and Brad talking all things smack about Arsenal, you can. That's on our YouTube page. You can go check that out now. But this week, we're going to kind of talk about holistically the transfer window. We've got kind of an interesting chart that we're going to show you guys that The Athletic created. It's about how much each team has spent. And then we're going to do a thought experiment about if the transfer window was closed right now, if it just slammed shut, would you be happy? So if you're a fan of the Premier League and you're thinking about that and you hear me say that, say you're a Wolves fan. Think about that and maybe let us know in the comments what you think. If the transfer window was closed right now, would you be happy with the business your club has done? But before we get into that conversation, if you can hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell if you're on YouTube, drop a comment down below. Let us know where you're listening from, who you support. If you're on one of the podcast sites, thanks for listening. It means that I uploaded it to Spotify, so good on me. And rate, review, whatever your platform so allows, and share it with a friend. We really appreciate all that support and help. And without further ado, let's bring this chart up, right? So this is how much each team in the Premier League has spent thus far. This is through August 4th. Everything's converted to British pounds, and it only includes transfer fees. Agent fees and things like that aren't included in any of this. So this is, as you can see at the top of the list is Liverpool. Liverpool have spent an astonishing £252 million thus far. Potentially some more if some transfers go through, and we'll talk about that. They're leading the pack, and in 20th, shockingly. And this was shocking to me when I saw it, is Fulham, having spent a whopping 400,000 Great British pounds sterling this summer so far. European, I guess they're in the Conference League at the moment. Maybe will be back in the Europa League. Crystal Palace has only spent £2 million in order to revitalize their squad. And Aston Villa has only spent £6 million, which those three teams having not spent anything seems really shocking to me. What stands out to you guys here on this? Joel, what would you say is stands out to you the most on this list so far, would you say?
I think so. A couple of things. Top six are as the Premier League would like it to be. They're the ones who are allowed to spend the most, and they do spend the most. I think PSR is working perfectly as it should. I think that the recent teams who have challenged the traditional top six, Newcastle, Villa, and last season Forest. You look at them on the list. You got Forest in 12th, Newcastle 13th, Villa in 18th. I just think that the Premier League makes it so hard for these clubs who are trying to challenge to get in there and actually spend the money they have. Newcastle should have so much freedom to spend now because they've signed one player this season, Elanga, or one first-team player in Elanga, and we've got Champions League, we've won a trophy, and the list of players who, and we'll talk about it later in a different topic, the list of players that don't want to join Newcastle, that choose teams who can spend more money, is just astonishing. It's annoying. I think that.
Joel, yeah, I'd be interested, and I know we talked about this from time to time, but is it the geography? This was a big talking point. This used to be a big talking point in NFL many years ago and MLB many years ago, where the money is nice, but if the money is even wherever you go, would you rather live in Miami or would you rather live in Buffalo? And so people would make business decisions on where they would like to live. State regulations aside, it does Newcastle's geography hinder some of that, do you think? Especially with some of the South American or Spanish or Portuguese play. Does that play in, do you think, to some of their
I mean, you could
decisions?
say yes, but it didn't stop Bruno or Joel
Sure.
Linton.
Sure.
Um,
Sure. Fair
and
points.
then go on, James.
I was gonna say I mean, like, as Americans, we would look at the distance between Manchester and Newcastle and scoff and be like, it's
Sure.
not that far, right? Now maybe other people would would see that differently, but like it's like if you're okay saying yes to Manchester United, but you're not okay saying yes to Newcastle, then I can't believe that's a geography thing. I can't
Sure.
believe that it's like, oh, the climate is so much worse in Newcastle.
No, I
Yeah,
don't think it would be
fair
climate.
point.
I think
That's a
it's
fair point.
more like players prefer London. Foreign players prefer London to Manchester or Newcastle because it's London.
Yeah, of
But
course.
I think like the one example that comes to mind right now is Sesko, right? That transfer fiasco. I cannot think of genuinely, and I know I'm a Newcastle fan, and I'm trying to remove bias here. I can't think of one legitimate reason why a player would choose Man United over Newcastle. I can't think of one.
Not
But
a sporting
going
reason.
he's going to go to Man United. I'm almost certain of it. It's not been formally announced, but I'm almost certain that Sesko will be a Man United player.
It's clearly not a sporting It's clearly not a sporting reason. It's got to be financial or I don't know.
I can't think of a time where a club has offered more money than another club, but the player will still go to the club that offered less.
Yeah, you can't make a sporting
and is worse.
You can't make a sporting argument for choosing Manchester United over Newcastle at the moment. Like there's no sporting argument you can make. There's not really even a financial argument you can make anymore because Newcastle have unlimited money in Saudi Arabia.
And by this point, Joel, by this point, you guys have built new facilities, I'm sure. Practice facilities, sport technology centers. I'm sure you have all of that infrastructure. So it's not even really that their facilities are better, because I'm sure, well, Old Trafford's kind of a dump, but I'm sure their facilities are nice, but it's not like Newcastle's are markedly worse.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. I remember a year ago, or last season at some point, Man United were bankrupt. They were firing some of their staff because they couldn't afford to pay him.
They hired Alex Ferguson.
They made staff redundant directly after the Europa League final. They made like 200 staff redundant.
They spent 131 million, and they're about to drop another 85 on Sesko. Like I don't get where the money comes from.
Yeah, and so this brings up an interesting conversation, a holistic conversation about financial fair play and PSR. And I take your sarcastic statement about they're working as intended, but like they actually are working as intended, because I'm an Arsenal supporter. So like we're old money in English football. And so the reason, in my estimation, that financial fair play became a thing was because Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea and then proceeded to spend unlimited money on transfers. He broke transfer records year after year, summer, January, it didn't matter. He was spending money left, right, and center. And it wasn't money that Chelsea created. It wasn't money that Chelsea had generated. It was money that Roman Abramovich brought to the club from his oil business. And the old money in football, the Manchester Uniteds, the Arsenals, the Liverpools, like the teams that had money and at the time were like, this is unsustainable. And they use the word unsustainable, but what they really mean is we don't want our power, our position to be assaulted. We enjoy being at the top of the pyramid, and we don't want someone buying their way in and just outclassing us or outspending us, because that's objectively, that's what Chelsea has done. And I think most reasonable people would look at Chelsea and say that they've had a more successful last 25 years than say Arsenal have, right? That doesn't make them a bigger club than Arsenal. That doesn't make them more important than Arsenal in the grand scheme of things. But they have had more success over the last 25 years than Arsenal have. And Arsenal clearly have an issue with that. And so like one of the teams, like Arsene Wenger was talking about financial fair play in 2006, right? And so, like the purpose of financial fair play and PSR and all of these new monetary policies is really just to keep the rich, or just to keep the old money protected. It's not meant to, like, sure, we don't want to have another Leeds United situation where they're in Europe and then a year later or 2 years later they're bankrupt, right? Like that's not what they want. But like they use this outlier case of Leeds United as a reason to create all of these rules around owner financing and things like that, just to protect old money.
At the same time, if Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour for Man City want to spend however much money they want, why not? Like they own the club, it's their money, it's their investment, it's a business. Let them spend the money. If they lose a bunch of money after the fact, whose fault is it? The owner's fault.
Well, the problem with that,
I agree with that. And if they go bankrupt doing it and the club goes under, then that's their fault. That's their fault. That's their investment. That's what are we protecting these clubs for? If you go under because you spent too much and you had a poor business model, then that's your fault. Right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, don't you agree, Joel? Like you should be financially smart.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that yeah, James described it well. PSR, financial fair play, is really there to keep Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, City protected so that they can remain the top dogs. I mean, last season may have been an outlier with United and Spurs finishing at the bottom half of the table, but they're still free to spend however much money they want and never get fined for it. Forest get fined, Everton get fined. I wouldn't be surprised if Villa and Newcastle get fined at some point.
To be fair, well, I don't know about United because they were broke. But to be fair, Tottenham don't traditionally spend a lot of money, net spend.
No,
so
I would
the past 3-ish years are kind of an outlier for Tottenham over the last 15-ish.
Yeah, I mean, you'd still consider Spurs one of those.
But yes, we are old money. Yes, we are old money. We are part of that group that we have an enormous amount of income. Yeah, as far as generating income, we are one of those people.
Generate a heck of a lot of money over the last number of years with Kane, Bale, Modric.
Absolutely.
Like, all these players that have been and gone. But yeah, anyway, that's my thought. I think the big six are the big six, and it'll stay that way until something changes.
I think that's a worry. And I say that from my ivory tower. And I'm certainly still want Arsenal to remain relevant, but I don't like the idea of no upward mobility. And it's like one of the reasons I was drawn to English football specifically when I started. It was one of the only sports that didn't have a salary cap. Like I'm used to American sports that have salary caps, and the clubs and the teams are limited on how much they can spend, and it's not very free. Like the thing that drew me to English football was it's like a free market. Like if you produce it, go and get it. And like I get the idea that like when you just inject money from outside, it's not like you haven't produced it. And so like that feels a little bit weird. It does feel a little bit manipulative to a point. But at the same time, like these other teams have such a head start. Like that it's impossible for these other teams to catch up. And like every team in England in the Premier League made over £100 million last year in TV revenue, right? Like the TV revenue deal, I think Liverpool probably made the most because they won, and they were probably upwards of like 180, I think. I remember seeing the chart in the spring, but they made let's say they made 180 million, and then whoever was the lowest, Southampton, probably still made like 120, something like that. They were still over 100 million.
Unreal.
And so like I look at that And like you said, Newcastle won a trophy. They were finished in the Champions League spot. So they probably made 165, 170, maybe 175 million in TV revenue alone. It's not like St. James's Park is a small stadium. It's one of the larger stadiums in England. They sell out every game. And so it just seems really strange to me that Newcastle haven't spent any money. And that we're constantly hearing about, well, Newcastle have a PSR concern. Aston Villa have a PSR concern. It's just like, I don't know.
Well, and then you look at the players that Newcastle have been linked with, and they haven't gotten, and they've gone to other big six clubs because they have the money to spend. Cunha with Wolves.
Yep.
Newcastle are heavily linked with him. And Mbeumo.
Shocking.
Newcastle really wanted Mbeumo. João Pedro was another one, went to Chelsea. So you got Cunha, Manu, Mbeumo, Manu, Ekitike, Liverpool.
Yep.
João Pedro, Chelsea. Delap, Chelsea. Like, these are players that Newcastle pursued. James Trafford, the goalie, went to City.
Yep.
It's just like
it's just shocking. It's just
impossible
shocking
to compete. Impossible. These are all players this window that Newcastle have linked with or tried to sign.
I cannot.
Newcastle. Well, I want to make a point really quick. Newcastle's to a point too, and Joel would probably agree with this, but Newcastle's to a point where signing a $20 million concession signing just to sign somebody is not where you are in your. You're not so much in a rebuild now. You're in a build. You're just in a build, not a rebuild. So so those are, you named really good players, and once you get through that list and they don't pick you, now you're on tier 2, which you don't at Newcastle stage, you don't want to sign because they're not going to improve your team.
No,
you were looking at João Pedro, you were looking at Cunha, you were looking at Trafford because they improve your team or at least your depth, and that's the point of signing them. And now that you've missed out on them, they're signing the next tier of player doesn't help you any.
Exactly. I guess that takes you to the next topic.
I think my final point I want to make about this, really quickly, is that I think we do need protections from bad owners in English football, because look at the Glazers. Sure, United are still spending a boatload of money, but the Glazers have essentially run the most profitable English football team into the ground, and have turned Manchester United into just a horrible place. And so I think that there needs to be some.
So what?
Well, because it's a bunch of Americans who have come in, bought a team, and it's more than just a club. It's like an institution of English society and English culture. I think that there needs to be some protection, and maybe the protection is no foreign ownership. I don't know, but the Glazers don't understand and can't revere Manchester United like someone from Manchester does. And so they come in, they turn into a publicly traded money. They bleed all of the money out of the club for their own enrichment. And the team is a shell of what it used to be. And I'm certainly happy that Manchester United are a shell of what they used to be. I don't like Manchester United as an Arsenal supporter, but at the same time, I think that there is a legitimate worry here about pump and dump schemes where venture capital comes in and buys up a team and then ruins it.
I'm with Joel. So what? If that happens to a team,
okay, how would you feel?
You know what history is for? We can read it in a book. In 30 years, we can read about how great Man United was back in the day.
All right,
while they're in the National League, you know what? If they run it into the ground, we could just read about it in a book. That's history.
All right. Well,
if they run it into the ground, that is what it is.
An Indian billionaire is going to come by the Atlanta Braves and the Green Bay Packers, run them into the ground, and then we'll see.
Oh,
we'll see how you feel about history then.
No.
So,
no, we can't do that.
Honestly, if we take that to its logical conclusion, Chelsea had an over $1 billion loan that they owed Roman Abramovich. That had when Roman Abramovich had to sell the team. Had he called that debt and said, no, you owe me this money, Chelsea Football Club, instead of just forgiving it like he did, like Roman Abramovich's parting gift to Chelsea was to forgive this $1.1 billion loan. If he hadn't done that, then Chelsea would be in a completely different world than making 49 signings in the last 3 windows or whatever it was. Okay, but we wanted to shift gears to, if the window closed today, would you be happy? And so I think I want to give you the floor first, Joel, as our guest. If the transfer window shut today, are you happy with Newcastle's business?
I think I know.
I think I know the answer as well, but
yeah, absolutely not. Nope, not one bit. Newcastle are heading into the season weaker than they headed into last season.
And that's a big concern because they've got more coming up. You've got the Champions League again, and it's
We've signed Anthony Elanga,
which is a good signing. Great signing.
It's not a wow signing, but it's a good signing. Adds pace, adds goal contributions to the attack. Great. Wilson's gone. If the transfer window shut today, sure, we've still got Isak, but Wilson's gone. We've got no backup. Isak's injury prone. But one proper good striker. Sean Longstaff's gone. So we've got our 3 midfielders, Bruno, Tonali, Joelinton.
Mm-hmm.
It's Lewis Miley, who's a good player, but he's not Tonali, Bruno, Joelinton. So midfield lacks depth, attack lacks depth. Defense is exactly the same. Aging, you've got Dan Burn, legend, but not good enough. Trippier's 34.
Yep.
Back up to Livramento. If Livramento's out, it's Trippier. It's fine. Lewis Hall, left back. Like the depth's not there. Nick Pope's not good enough. That's why I was really hoping James Trafford would come. Nick Pope's not good enough. So no, I'm not happy. Newcastle need a goalie, a centre back.
Well, hold on. You guys got a goal. You guys got a goalie. You guys signed a goalie. You guys signed Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, you did.
You guys got this. You guys got the best English goalkeeper.
Aaron Ramsdale does not.
The England #1. Come on.
You know what? It's a toss-up. I honestly don't rate Nick Pope highly. I don't rate Aaron Ramsdale highly.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So what you're saying honestly is that the English #1 should be Dean Henderson. That's what you're saying.
Definitely not what I'm saying.
Well, those are the 3. Those are the 3 on the team. You said you don't rate them. Dean Henderson should be the #1. So that's what you're saying.
I would take Pickford. Pickford any day.
Pickford. I keep forgetting about Pickford.
I think your assessment. I think your assessment is objectively correct. Like, Newcastle haven't done a lot, and they could have used. They need some help. If Aaron Ramsdale and Anthony Elanga are the only signings you make,
that's poor.
Yeah. That's not.
If you take it on surface level without the losses, if you take it on surface level of just those additions, my first thought was, oh, that's great. You add goalkeeper depth that's not Dumbraka. You add forward depth that you needed, and Elanga can play center forward. It's not his position, but he can play
like a false 9. You can play him as like a false 9.
Yeah, it's not his position. You can manage. How can manage around it?
Yeah.
But on a surface value of just the additions, you could say, okay, this is nice depth, but they're not going to be starters.
There's no improvement.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. But that was my argument for the last few years for Tottenham, was also that we need depth. Like when we play in Europe, this is like you have to have depth. And to your point with the midfield, you've lost a few midfielders and you haven't replaced them, and you're going to need them when you go play Romanian Serie B, whatever. Like when you go play a team that doesn't matter, you don't want to have to play Tonali, Joelinton, and it's you know what I mean. Like you don't want to have to play them.
Yeah,
but right now you do.
Yep. So, not happy. Newcastle need at least 3 or 4, but that's not going to happen. And the window's not shut, so Isak's going to go as well. So
I'm still not convinced. That Liverpool are going to pony up the amount of money that Newcastle want to sign him.
Yeah, but there comes a point where player power plays a big part. And Isak,
I'm also shocked that Isak wants out. That just shocks
you know
me.
what? I think it's really bad the way he's gone about it, but I don't blame him.
Yeah, like this was
What,
the. I was gonna make this point about Ekitike. Is that like there are like saying that Newcastle lost out on a signing to the reigning champions. That makes sense, right? Like a player choosing that's a footballing reason to join another team,
yeah.
right? Like,
However, he's joined Liverpool, and if Isak joins,
oh,
he's joined Liverpool
he's
to
gonna
sit on
be
the bench.
yeah, he's gonna be upset, right? And like
Yeah.
the Ekitike signing seemed like it kind of indicated that Isak isn't gonna go, and then the Ekitike signing happened, and then it became aware that Isak was like, well, I'd be interested in looking if a move materialized, I'd be interested in that. And so it's like, oh, well, that was bad timing.
Well, he refused to go on tour. He's not done it well.
Is that what did he officially refuse to go on tour? Was like
he injured his thigh.
Yeah, okay.
He did a solo training camp
At Real Sociedad. Yeah.
It just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
I really thought that the Ekitike was a ploy by Liverpool. I thought that they were entertaining that to try to kind of get Isak back, to kind of draw him in. Of like, all right, well, if your club's not going to play ball, we'll go get this other striker. So when they signed him, I was like, oh, Isak's definitely staying in Newcastle. And now then all this news has come out, and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought this was fodder by the club, and then they signed him. So now the Isak's off.
If Darwin Nunez goes to Saudi Arabia for 70 million, well then,
which is bonkers,
which is stupid money. So maybe there's a world where Liverpool look at that and say, okay, let's just pony up another 70 million. We'll take the 70 million from Saudi Arabia, 70 million from us, and we'll offer 120 million plus 20 million in bonuses, and maybe that will cause Newcastle to bite, which 140 million shatters the English transfer window. You get an unhappy player out, you get a boatload of money that Newcastle don't really need because they've got unlimited money from Saudi Arabia, but they have to get because of the stupid rules.
Which they're not allowed to spend.
Yeah, so...
I don't know.
Yeah.
If I predicted right now, I think Newcastle end the transfer window with a mid-tier striker replacing Isak.
Like an Ollie Watkins or something like that?
Well, go.
No, I don't think we get an Ollie Watkins.
That's a higher end.
So,
but he's
older.
I think that's the problem.
Funny enough, would you go get Chris Wood back?
No, absolutely not. I think it would be someone as good as or as bad as like Nicholas Jackson. I hope it's not him.
That would be such a downgrade.
I think Newcastle get that type of striker.
Yeah.
Not good.
All right, Sean.
Anyway, what about your teams?
Tottenham.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Tottenham, if the window closed now, Sonny's on his way out the door. I don't know where.
LAFC.
He's
coming to MLS.
Yes, that's the biggest rumor. I'm actually that makes me a little sad for him. Because it was not a off season ago, I was saying that we should offload and we could get close to 100 million. I was thinking 85. The way forwards were going, I was thinking 85-ish.
Was that the summer that Kane left as well?
Yeah, so a summer or two ago.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he is deteriorated to the point that MLS is his only option is a little sad to me.
Well,
but honestly, he has dropped off. He's still class is permanent. He's still scoring goals, but he is not. He is a shell of himself.
Let's look at this from his perspective. He accomplished his goal at Tottenham. He won a trophy. He won a big trophy, like not just like the Carabao Cup. He won a big trophy, and I don't say the Carabao. I hold on. I didn't say that as a dig at Newcastle, but like if we're ranking them, the Europa League is maybe the third
par
most.
With the FA, probably.
At least par with the FA Cup. Might be more important than the FA Cup. That's an argument to have. And then Son gets to go to LA. Like, is anyone complaining about living in Los Angeles when you're rich?
No. And I'm not saying anything bad about it.
Closer to Korea. Like, it's closer to Korea. The flights are there's a big Korean population in LA. So like he's gonna have a big fan base there. I think that's a legitimate concern. That like it's.
Are you saying this is a good move so he can go to Koreatown in LA?
No, I'm saying that there will be a large. I don't know the demographics of London, but I would imagine there's a larger Korean population in LA than there is in London.
I could tell you in a specific pocket of North London, he is a very beloved person.
Sure, I don't disagree
So
with that. I'm not arguing with that.
it's not like he's treated poorly when he walks the streets
Of course
of
not. That's not what I'm
the
saying.
neighborhood.
But
Yeah.
like, it is also just closer to home, and it's better weather. Closer to home, better weather,
I would need to
better
get out a
jerseys.
measuring tape. I would need to. Well, the weather is clearly better, but I would need to get out a measuring tape to see if the west coast of the United States is closer to Korea than the southern coast of England. I would bet that it's probably pretty close. I would imagine.
James, you're also very right. There are significantly more Koreans in LA than London.
Just saying.
Fair enough. We've got the.
I have the host title for a reason. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
20,000 and 300,000 in LA.
My general point was that I thought we would sell him for 80 million. He's gonna go to MLS for like 5. So it's just depressing. But his performance has dipped. I kind of saw the writing on the walls once he played 2 seasons ago. He played really injured, I think with a hip, and he played through it, and he just was not himself, and he has not been himself since. I don't know if it's a permanent injury or if it's something that he just couldn't recover from. But other than that, João Palhinha was, when he was last in the Premier League in the seasons of 2022, 2023, and 23-24, before he went to Bayern, had the most tackles in the Premier League in those 2 seasons. And the next closest was over 190 behind them. So this is a really locked down defensive midfielder. That is something that Tottenham has missed. If he is the same player when he comes back to the Premier League, this is something that Tottenham has missed since Dembele, having that real solid 6. So that's a really exciting signing. I can't wait to see it in action, to see if he's still the same player that he was when he was Fulham.
I bet probably.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows if he is or not?
It's been one season. I'm sure he's still got it.
I'm a see it to believe it kind of guy. I gotta see it on the field first. And then other sign we made permanent Matthias Tell, made permanent Danzo. So a lot of our signings are not really signings; they're just making loans permanent.
What about Kudus?
Yeah, you got Mohamed Kudus. Like, that's a big one.
Matthias Kudus, I don't really have any feelings about that. I was excited at first, and then I just really realized that West Ham was not very good.
It's funny because
how am I supposed to feel about that?
Before he went to West Ham, he was heavily linked to Arsenal. Like, there was a moment where Arsenal were going to sign him.
From Ajax, right? It came from Ajax.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
it's one of those Dutch teams.
Swindlers.
So I think he'll be a good signing for Tottenham. I really do. He was West Ham. Well, maybe Jared Bowen, but I don't know. Like he was probably West Ham's first or second best player.
I would honestly rather have Jared Bowen.
Well, all right.
If I'm picking a player off of West Ham,
so
I would rather have Jared.
So ultimately, are you? If transfer window's close right now, are you happy?
Yes, I think we improved. I wasn't happy. This is minor. Yes, the answer is yes. I am happy with our window, but I wasn't happy with a couple of our loan outs. We sent a couple of our youngins out, Mikey Moore and Ashley Phillips. I thought that was going to be depth for this year.
Yeah.
17, or I guess now 18-year-old Mikey Moore at left wing. I thought that was a natural progression with Son moving out. Odebear is now the starter at left wing, and Mikey Moore would be the Europe, the Cup player.
Yeah.
And so him being loaned out he's loaned out to Rangers. He's going to get a good education on how to play football. It's not like he's getting loaned to like a third tier team or something. It's getting loaned to Champions League team. So like he's gonna play in some big games. So it's not the worst loan of all time, but Ashley Phillips also was center back depth. I maybe he's just not very good. Like at the end of the day, they keep loaning Ashley Phillips out, and I think he's going to be pretty good, and he just keeps getting loaned out. So maybe he's just not very good at the end of the day. But also incoming. One last before we talk about Arsenal. One last one. Vuskovic. It comes in. A player we bought 2 years ago when he was 16. Contracts that we signed when we signed him was that when he was 18 he would come to the team. He's here now, and by all accounts is going to be challenging to start, which is really kind of remarkable. I don't think he starts over Van de Ven and Romero right now. But the fact that those are the reports coming out that he is extremely good, looks extremely good in training with the other first team players, looks good in the preseason games. That's just that's probably the first center back off the bench. That's a really good, something really good to hear. So.
Okay. So I guess that leaves Arsenal as
Yeah,
the last one here.
What you got?
I mean, I think the short answer to if the transfer window closed today, are you happy? The answer to that is obviously yes for Arsenal. We've been complaining about a center forward for two windows now, and got Gyökeres in. I'll be honest. I'll be completely transparent. My preference was Benjamin Šeško, but Red Bull they wanted to play hardball and they wanted a lot of money for him. And Arsenal were like, well, we'll just go another direction. And so I'm happy that we got one of the two. But so Gyökeres wasn't my first preference, but I am still happy. I'm very happy that we signed him. Zubamendi, great signing. Norgard, I think, is a great signing as well. It's a really shrewd bit of business because I think losing both Jorginho and Thomas Partey, I think left a big gap in our midfield. And we already knew we were getting Zubamendi, and Zubamendi is an upgrade on both of them. And Norgard is probably an upgrade over Jorginho. And so, that's good for the center of the midfield. The Madueke one is weird to me. It was a lot of money. Maybe he's going to be great for us. I hope he's great for us. I hope he scores a lot of goals. I hope he can give Saka a break, and maybe we can do some more interesting things
point, right?
up top.
You've been clamoring for
Yes
4 years to get a backup for Saka.
Yes.
So if Madueke is ready to be a backup, then that is what you wanted for the last 4 years. Just someone competent to replace Saka when he gets injured or needs a break.
I think what Brad was saying was that Saka should go play on the left wing so Madueke could play on the right wing. And I'm like, Brad, you're a crazy person. Anyway, Kepa, I think, is a great signing. $5 million for a backup goalkeeper who's going to push David Raya. I think that's a great signing. Honestly, the only thing Arsenal need to do is move on some players. We need to move on Reece Nelson. We need to move on Lakanga, who none of you guys don't even remember him. But he needs to move on. Zinchenko probably needs to move on. There's talk about Gabriel Jesus moving on, but he's rehabbing his ACL right now, so he's going to be hard to move on. And so Fabio Vieira, it just doesn't seem like Vieira is going to work out at Arsenal. So if we have some departures between here and the end of the transfer window, I think it's going to be great. Obviously, the ever-present Eze rumor is still hanging over Arsenal, and honestly, if Arsenal sign Eze, what do I have to complain about? Nothing. PSR, FFP working exactly how it's supposed to. Arsenal getting to spend boatloads of money, and these new money,
picking apart the other 14 teams.
Exactly. I was gonna try and make a Great Gatsby reference, but I can't remember what the old money and new money used to call each other in that book, so I won't. I'll just tell everyone that I was thinking about it, and that's good enough for me. But yeah, I think objectively I have to be happy with Arsenal's window so far. So
it's fair. They've got some really good players in.
Yeah, I mean, I think
at least Partey's moved on now.
Yes.
Good timing.
I think I said my piece a month ago, and so I'm not going to rehash old wounds.
I wasn't on then, so I just
Sure.
had to.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I think objectively good window. Quick fire. Let's just as a group throw out. Transfer window closes today. Are Chelsea happy?
Yes.
I think yes.
Yeah, it should be.
They need to sell about 12 players because they're going to go into pre. Like they probably
23.
Yeah, they probably only just started preseason 5 minutes ago, but they've got to move. They've got 87 players. Manchester City. Are Manchester City happy? I don't know.
I don't
Maybe?
even know they did.
City's a toss-up, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't done a whole. I mean, they've spent 150 million, so like clearly they've brought in some players, but like.
But they spent a lot early and in January, so I think.
Yeah, who did they sign? Oh, they signed people for.
They signed in January.
They signed people for the Club World Cup.
That was another one.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They signed really early.
Aït-Nouri from Wolves. I know they got him. I honestly couldn't tell you any.
I've highly rated Aït-Nouri for.
Thanks. Yeah.
I've highly rated Aït-Nouri for.
Who else?
Well, at least 2 years. I think he's just remarkable. Left. I would have taken him all day at Tottenham.
Oh, they got Reniers from AC Milan, Cherki from Lyon, Trafford, Severin Naipan, or that is.
I think we can 3-2-1 our Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool 3-2-1. Yes, they're happy.
Better be. They're better.
I mean,
they better be happy.
They have
if they're not happy.
Yes. Sunderland has spent 121 million. What is going on? We don't know who they signed, but they have to be happy. Oh, they signed Granit Xhaka.
I tell you what, the time with Derby, Xhaka versus Joelinton is going to be so good.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Leeds spending 74 million so far. They got to be happy.
What's interesting about those clubs coming up is they are old money. Sunderland and Leeds. Well, aside from their scandal,
Leeds are weird.
So Leeds, you can put a cut in it that they were old money and then they lost it.
Yep.
But Sunderland are old money, and they have a very big stadium. They have a very big revenue. They have a very big fan base. They would traditionally be old money.
Not to the degree of the Arsenal, United,
so
Liverpool, but
crazy because they haven't been old money for a long time. Like, when did they get relegated? Probably 7-8 years ago.
It's been a while since they've been relegated.
Maybe I'm exaggerating their decline.
I think we would all agree that Fulham, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, all very disappointed thus far. So
I would be, especially Villa.
Yes, absolutely. Villa having only spent 6 million, Palace only 2 million. Yeah, they're definitely upset. But I think that's where we leave you all. You need to let us know if you're a Villa supporter, if you're a Crystal Palace supporter. Are you happy? Are you not happy? Maybe you're a Brighton supporter and your team spent just shy of 70 million pounds. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know how you're feeling. And there's 3.5 weeks left in the transfer window, 4 weeks or so, close to 4 weeks. So there's still plenty of time for a lot of things to happen in the transfer window. But there's less time before the Premier League starts because we are 10 days away from the official start of the Premier League season. We've made it through, guys. We're so close. Next week, we're going to be doing predictions, sheets of integrity, predictions, all that good stuff. So Joel, Jimmy, Tamzeed, Chap, all you guys listening, you're going to have to get ready to make your submissions. And if you want to prepare for that, if you're not used to making submissions, you can join our Discord. It's in the description of this video. And all of the information for submitting your picks and things like that will be in the Discord. And we look forward to your participation this year. And Joel, I heard you say that it's a rebound year for you. You're coming back this year.
100%. Terrible last season. As Harry Maguire would say, no excuses this season.
Let's go. All right. Let us know. Hit us up on social media. Red Card Radio at Red Card Radio on all the social medias. Sean is at Whiteheart_Sean. I am at James Tiffany. Joel is at Joel Finley 16. And you can send messages to us, or you can harass Brad at KSBradG. And we look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks so much for listening, and we will be back next week. Thanks so much.